Steven Gerrard might just have lit the fuse for one of the most sensational comebacks in Scottish football. Out of nowhere, the former Rangers boss has opened the door, wide open, to a potential return to Ibrox, admitting that he has unfinished business in the game. And let's be honest, when a man like Gerrard says something like that, especially with his history at Rangers, the football world listens. The timing? Well, it couldn't be more dramatic. Just days after Russell Martin was relieved of his duties as manager, the speculation has exploded, and Rangers fans are once again daring to dream. The whispers of a second Gerrard era in Glasgow are quickly turning into roars. It's no surprise, really. The moment Gerrard uttered those words, social media went into overdrive. Supporters flooded timelines, calling for his return, demanding that he come back and finish what he started. After all, we're talking about the man who guided Rangers to their iconic 55th league title, ending Celtic's dominance in emphatic fashion. That season, that triumph, it wasn't just a trophy. It was a statement. It was a resurrection. And Gerrard was the architect of it all. Now, with the managerial seat at Ibrox once again vacant, the idea of bringing him back feels less like fantasy and more like unfinished destiny. And there's more. It's not just fans pushing the narrative. There are figures close to the club who are ready to jump on board if Gerrard makes a move. One of those names? Jermaine Defoe. The former Rangers striker, a fan favorite and a model professional during his playing days at the club, has also thrown his name into the conversation. Speaking recently, Defoe made it clear, if the call comes, he's ready. No hesitation. He's done his coaching badges, he understands the culture, and more importantly, he knows exactly what it means to wear the blue shirt. The expectations, the standards, the pressure, it's in his DNA now. And in his own words, returning to help the current group of players would be a no-brainer. Let's not forget what Defoe brought to the club. His time at Ibrox wasn't just about goals or assists. It was about professionalism, leadership, and presence in the dressing room. He was part of that historic title-winning squad, and he gets what it takes to win at Rangers. For him, Rangers is more than just a football club, it's a way of life. And now, with a potential coaching shakeup on the horizon, his willingness to return couldn't be better timed. Coaches like Mike Williamson and Matt Gill have departed alongside Martin, leaving the backroom wide open for a rebuild. Defoe, with his Premier League experience and intimate knowledge of Ibrox, could be a perfect addition to whatever setup comes next. But the focus inevitably shifts back to Gerrard. His recent comments came during an in-depth interview with Rio Ferdinand, and they were telling. The 45-year-old spoke with purpose, admitting that while he's been enjoying time with family and doing things he couldn't while managing, attending Grand Prix events, playing in Legends matches, there's still a fire burning. I need to go again. He talked about taking the next opportunity seriously, surrounding himself with the right people, and only stepping back into management if the challenge excites him. For Gerrard, it's not about taking just any job. It's about taking the right one. One where he can compete. One that fits his style. One where success is expected. And if that doesn't describe Rangers to a T, what does? It's clear Gerrard hasn't been short on offers. Since leaving Saudi Arabia's Al Ettifaq, he's taken calls, 5 or 6, by his count. But none of them were quite right. Timing was off, his staff weren't ready, and life outside of football was calling. He recently became a grandfather, and that family moment took priority. But make no mistake, his sabbatical won't last forever. He's actively working behind the scenes, putting together a team of people he trusts, people who can make him stronger and better as a coach. He knows the level he wants to work at. He's tasted success. He's led from the front before, and that hunger is clearly still there. When Gerrard reflects on his time at Ibrox, it's not just fondness, it's pride. You can hear it in his voice. He calls the club a perfect match. He loved the experience. And when someone with that kind of football pedigree, someone who's captained Liverpool and England, talks about Rangers with that level of affection, it hits different. The bond is real. The respect is mutual. And the door? It's not just open. It's practically swinging on its hinges. Of course, practical issues still linger. Gerrard is currently based in Bahrain, and there have been murmurs about potential logistical or legal hurdles that could complicate a return to the United Kingdom. But let's be real. If the call from Rangers comes, and if Gerrard feels the stars are aligned, you'd bet he'll find a way to make it happen. The chance to reignite the project he started, to build on that legacy, and to once again lead a team built in his image, it's got to be tempting. Meanwhile, Rangers are not standing still. The board knows time is of the essence. Fans are restless. Expectations are high. And with the season already underway, the need for a swift and decisive appointment is critical. Whether that means reaching out to Gerrard formally or exploring other options like Derek McInnes remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, Gerrard is back in the conversation in a very real way. And this whole situation speaks volumes about the emotional connection between a club and a manager. Gerrard might have left for Aston Villa, and things might have not gone to plan there, but his legacy at Ibrox is untarnished. That 55th title wasn't just about winning. It was about restoring belief, pride, and identity. It was about giving Rangers fans something they hadn't felt in years. That kind of impact doesn't fade away. It lingers. It echoes. And now, it might just be calling him home. We also can't ignore the strategic importance of who Gerrard might bring with him if he does return. He's spoken about fresh ideas, new voices, and different people around him. That suggests a reinvention, a smarter approach, a refined version of the manager we saw during his first stint. And that's exciting, because while the first Gerrard era delivered silverware, it also laid the foundation for something bigger. With more experience under his belt and a hunger to prove himself again, a second spell could be even more explosive. The buzz around Gerrard isn't just nostalgic, it's logical. He knows the club. He knows the league. He knows what it takes to win in Scotland. And perhaps more importantly, he knows how to connect with the fans. He's a born leader, and in a time where Rangers need direction, clarity, and belief, that leadership might just be the difference. And while all eyes are on the dugout, there's also movement on the pitch. Youssef Chermatai, the young striker who arrived with big expectations, is finally catching some positive headlines. After struggling to make an impact since arriving from Everton, the 21-year-old has earned a recall to Portugal's under-21 squad, ending an 18-month exile. It's a big moment for him, a chance to hit the reset button, to prove he still has what it takes, and to show Rangers fans why the club invested so heavily in his potential. Chermatai's been through a rough patch. There's no sugarcoating it. No goals in 6 matches, questions about confidence, doubts about his ability to deliver at this level. But international recognition can do wonders for a young player. Portugal's under-21 boss, Luís Freire, praised his physical attributes, his movement, and his link-up play. He sees the talent. He sees the potential. And now, the hope is that a couple of good performances on the international stage can help reignite his Rangers career. The timing of his recall couldn't be better. With the squad likely to be reshaped under a new manager, every player will be under the microscope. And for Chermatai, this could be the perfect opportunity to earn a fresh start. The club needs goals. The fans need belief. And the striker himself needs to silence the critics. It's a big ask, but the talent is there. What he needs now is confidence, and perhaps the right manager to unlock it. As this managerial saga continues to unfold, there's a growing sense that Rangers are standing on the edge of another defining moment. The last time the club faced this kind of crossroad, Steven Gerrard walked through the doors and rewrote the narrative. Now, with the team once again in need of direction, of belief, of identity, the prospect of bringing back the man who delivered the title that meant everything is not just enticing. It feels necessary. The board will have their hands full making a decision that could either push the club forward or set things further back. But one thing is becoming clear. Gerrard's shadow looms large over Ibrox, and it's not going away anytime soon. There's also a more tactical angle to all of this. During his previous tenure, Gerrard's teams were known for being disciplined, defensively solid, and extremely difficult to break down. He brought structure and belief, and perhaps most importantly, he brought standards back to the training ground. Rangers were not just winning matches, they were dominating them, particularly in Europe. That famous run in the Europa League, where Rangers looked like a side with true continental ambitions, was a reflection of how much the club had evolved under his watch. With the right staff and backing, there's every reason to believe he could replicate or even surpass those achievements. But what about those who argue against his return? Of course, there's always the risk. Returning to a club where you've already succeeded can be a double-edged sword. The expectations are sky-high. The margin for error? Slim to none. And let's not forget how his time at Aston Villa ended. A mixed spell where flashes of potential were overshadowed by inconsistency. Yet, many of the challenges he faced there, budget limitations, squad imbalances, and the pressure cooker that is the Premier League, are not necessarily the same he would face back in Scotland. In Glasgow, especially with Rangers, he knows the terrain. He knows what's required. And more importantly, he knows how to win here. The club isn't just looking for a manager. They're looking for someone who can carry the badge with pride, command the dressing room, deal with the relentless scrutiny from media and supporters, and still deliver on the pitch. That's not a role just anyone can take on. But Gerrard's previous spell showed that he embraced that pressure. In fact, he seemed to thrive in it. He understood the city, the rivalries, the weight of expectation. And while there's no guarantee that lightning strikes twice, few other names linked to the job carry the same emotional and tactical credibility. In this moment of uncertainty, supporters are clinging to figures who offer familiarity and hope. That's why Defoe's willingness to return has struck such a chord. He may not have spent as long at Ibrox as other club legends, but the impression he left was lasting. Fans remember the way he spoke about the club, the way he carried himself, and the influence he had on younger players. Now, with the coaching setup needing a complete rebuild, voices like Defoe's could play a huge role in re-establishing the standards that have clearly slipped in recent months. Behind the scenes, the club will be weighing up all these factors. It's not just about who the next manager is. It's about what kind of football the club wants to play. It's about how they plan to compete with Celtic, who have remained dominant domestically. It's about how Rangers get back to being a force, not just in Scotland, but in Europe again. And for all the speculation, for all the noise, Gerrard still stands out as someone who has already proven he can meet those demands. At the same time, this managerial change also puts several players under the microscope. The new boss, whoever he ends up being, will have decisions to make about this squad. Players who were regulars under Russell Martin may find themselves fighting for their place. Others, like Youssef Chermatai, might be handed a clean slate. And that's crucial, because for a player like Chermatai, confidence is everything. Strikers live and die by their form, and when goals dry up, the pressure mounts quickly. But now, with an international recall on his shoulders and a new chapter possibly beginning at Ibrox, the pieces might be falling into place at just the right time. Chermatai's physical profile is impossible to ignore. At nearly 2 meters tall, with pace and a decent touch, he offers something different in attack. The raw tools are there. What's missing is the polish, the confidence, and the composure in front of goal. But there's no question the potential exists. And when a national team coach publicly backs you and puts you back into the mix after a long absence, it's a sign that people still believe. For Rangers, that belief has to translate into production soon. Supporters are patient, but only to a point. The goals have to come. The performances have to improve. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Glasgow's football scene has been thrown into a whirlwind of speculation this week, as whispers grow louder that Scottish playmaker Ryan GAULD has sensationally cut ties with Vancouver Whitecaps to make a long-awaited return home, and not just anywhere, but to Ibrox. According to sources close to the player, the Scottish Messi, as he was once dubbed during his early days at Dundee United, is on the verge of signing a deal with Rangers that could be made official in the coming days. The 29-year-old attacking midfielder, who's been plying his trade in Major League Soccer since 2021, is said to have informed Vancouver of his decision to leave following ongoing discussions with representatives from Glasgow. Reports suggest GAULD was keen on returning to Scotland after several years abroad, eager to prove his quality on home soil and perhaps push for one last crack at the national team setup. No official confirmation has come from either club, but fans have already started connecting the dots. A private flight reportedly arrived in Glasgow late Monday night, with onlookers swearing they spotted a familiar face stepping off at the terminal. Social media has been ablaze since then, with supporters debating whether this could be the creative spark Rangers have been craving. GAULD's addition would certainly add flair to Philippe Clement's midfield, bringing experience, vision, and a touch of unpredictability. Once considered one of Scotland's brightest talents, his move to Sporting Lisbon back in 2014 promised much, but was marred by injuries and constant loans. Yet, His resurgence in Canada, where he became one of MLS's standout playmakers, has reignited his career and reputation. If the rumors prove true, it would be a stunning coup for Rangers and a heartwarming homecoming for GAULD, who left Scotland as a prodigy and could now return as a seasoned leader. For now, Ibrox waits, the fans buzz, and the city wonders, is Ryan GAULD really coming home? Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.